Have you ever wondered why, in the most heated moment, he suddenly takes your legs and lifts them up? Not lightly, but with intention, as if something raw inside him takes over, without words, without warning. 1 second, you're simply close. The next, your legs are raised and everything shifts. For years, I thought it was nothing more than a change of position. Just something men do because they saw it once or stumbled on it without meaning to. But when it happened to me, really happened, I felt the difference. The kind that steals your breath and makes the world pause. It wasn't only physical. Something stirred deeper, as if that moment was carrying a message he couldn't put into words. And here's the secret. When a man lifts your legs, it's not random. It is instinctive, yes, but also profoundly psychological. It's a move that carries sensation, control, and hunger all at once. Today, I want to take you into that hidden space. Not just the movement, but the emotions, the chemistry, the silent pull beneath it. Because once you understand what's behind it, you'll never see that act the same way again. The instinct behind his move. There is a reason why certain gestures in intimacy happen without planning, without discussion, and sometimes even without explanation. One of the most powerful of these is when a man takes your legs and lifts them in the middle of passion. It looks simple on the outside, but if you slow down and think about it, this action is full of instinct, meaning, and unconscious truth. Men often do it without realizing why. But deep inside, something ancient and natural is being expressed. It is not just a habit, not just a repetition of something seen in a film or imagined in fantasy. It is a signal from the oldest part of the male psyche, where instinct and psychology meet. Carl Jung explained that many of our actions come from archetypes, patterns of behavior older than our personal life, older even than our culture. They are like blueprints hidden in the human unconscious. When a man raises your legs in bed, he is not only adjusting the body, he is tapping into an instinct that has been carried through generations. It is the instinct of taking, of claiming, of marking connection with intensity. At the same time, it is about intimacy, because such a move is only possible when there is closeness, when there is no barrier of fear or shame. Think about it. The body speaks before the mouth can form words. A gesture can reveal more truth than a sentence. When your legs are lifted, the gesture says, "I want all of you," completely. It is a form of instinctive communication that bypasses logic. This is why so many women report feeling something deeper in that moment, something that goes beyond the physical sensation. It feels like an awakening, like being pulled into a space where desire is not polite, not restrained, but raw and alive. This instinct is not aggressive in its essence. It is urgent, yes, but urgent in the way hunger is urgent. It comes from a place of life force, of energy that cannot be contained. Jung often spoke about the shadow, the hidden side of human behavior, and how it comes out in moments when the rational mind is silent. In intimacy, when barriers fall and masks are off, the shadow expresses itself. Lifting the legs is one of those shadow-driven expressions. It is not evil or dark in the negative sense, but it is primitive. It reveals how deep desire runs and how the unconscious looks for ways to show it. Many women wonder, why me? Why does he do this with me? The answer is simple. Instinct does not choose randomly. He does it with the one he feels safe with, the one who awakens not only his body but his inner truth. Married men especially carry a complex world of responsibility, rules, and expectations. But in that moment, when the legs are lifted, the man is free of all those masks. He is guided by the most natural part of himself. He is not the worker, not the father, not the provider. He is the man, pure and simple, moved by instinct. And this is why the move feels so different, because it is not just about position or pleasure. It is about revealing the primal side that everyday life forces him to hide. Society teaches men to control themselves, to be stable, logical, responsible. But under the surface, instinct still beats strongly. In intimacy, that instinct escapes through gestures like this, and it tells you something important. You are not with a machine. You are not with someone trapped in duty. You are with someone alive. From the female perspective, this gesture awakens something as well. It is the instinct of being wanted, of being seen, of being taken in a way that goes beyond politeness. Many women feel that in this moment, they lose part of their self-control. But instead of weakness, it feels like release. This is because instinct works in both directions. His act awakens your response, and together, the instinctive connection grows stronger. We must understand that the unconscious is full of symbols. Lifting the legs is symbolic. It opens, it elevates, it changes the angle not only of the body but of the relationship in that instant. It is a symbol of intensity. It tells the story of two energies colliding without barriers. Jung would say that symbols speak where words fail. And here the symbol is powerful. It means desire, surrender, and hunger. So when you see this move, do not dismiss it as something small. Look at it as a window into the male psyche. It is his instinct trying to connect with yours. It is the old primal truth speaking through the body. And once you recognize that, you will see intimacy with new eyes. You will realize that every gesture is a message, and this one in particular is a declaration without words. That is the instinct behind his move. It is ancient, unconscious, but alive in every man. And once you understand it, you will never again see it as random. You will see it as what it truly is. An instinctive act that reveals the depth of his desire and the psychology that drives it. The symbol of trust and surrender. When a man lifts your legs in bed, it may look like a physical movement, but deep down it carries a symbolic weight that touches the core of intimacy. It is not only about how bodies fit together, but about what the act communicates without words. At its heart, it is a symbol of trust and surrender. These two forces, trust on his side and surrender on yours, create an energy field that goes far beyond technique or sensation. Think about what it means for a woman to allow her legs to be lifted. It is a position of openness, of vulnerability. In daily life, we are taught to guard ourselves, to protect, to control our image. But in that moment, you let go. You allow him to guide, you allow him to take the lead, and you reveal the deepest confidence a person can give. This is not weakness, this is courage. Because surrender is never about losing power, it is about choosing to let someone in. Carl Jung often spoke about the dance between masculine and feminine energies. He explained that the masculine carries direction, structure, and movement, while the feminine holds receptivity, openness, and depth. When your legs are lifted, this dance comes alive. The man steps into his archetype of strength and direction, while you step into the archetype of trust and openness. It is a balance that makes intimacy complete. Without trust, there is only performance. Without surrender, there is only routine. But when both are present, intimacy becomes an exchange of souls, not just bodies. For many married men, this gesture is even more powerful. In marriage, routines, duties, and responsibilities often build walls around the raw connection between two people. Raising your legs is a way of breaking those walls for a moment. It is his way of saying, I need you, not just as my partner in life, but as my partner in passion. And for you, letting it happen is a declaration that you still trust him, that you still surrender to the bond that keeps you connected. This is why the act feels different from other moments of closeness. There is a risk involved, a letting go of control. And whenever there is risk, there is also trust. Without trust, the gesture would feel intrusive. With trust, it becomes liberating. It shows that you believe in his strength, in his ability to carry you through that vulnerable position, both physically and emotionally. Surrender is often misunderstood in our culture. People imagine it means being passive, silent, or powerless. But in truth, surrender is an active choice. You are the one who allows it. You are the one who decides that in this moment you will not resist. And that conscious choice makes the act sacred. It becomes more than a movement. It becomes a ritual of intimacy. From the psychological perspective, surrender also heals. Many women carry walls built from past pain, disappointments, or fears. In the safe space of intimacy, every time you surrender, those walls begin to soften. Allowing your legs to be lifted is like opening a door that says, "I trust you with my body. I trust you with my soul." And when a man feels that, he also feels honored, because trust is the most powerful gift one person can give another. Men, on the other side, are not always aware of this symbol consciously. They may not think, "I am creating trust right now," but their unconscious knows. The gesture comes from a desire not only to feel, but to connect. To lead, yes, but also to protect. The act is primal, but the message is emotional. I want you to let go because I want to be the one who carries this moment with you. Married men, especially, crave this form of surrender because it reminds them of something easily lost in daily routine. The thrill of being chosen, of being trusted, of being allowed in completely. Bills, work, and duties make them feel like providers, problem solvers, machines of responsibility. But in this private moment when you surrender, they feel like men again. They feel the raw connection that no responsibility can ever replace. For the woman, the symbol is just as deep. Surrender says, "I do not need to control everything. I can rest, I can open, I can trust." And when this happens, intimacy transforms. The bed stops being only a place of release and becomes a place of union. Surrender and trust melt two souls into one experience, and both leave the moment changed. Jung taught that the unconscious speaks in symbols. Raising the legs is one such symbol. It tells a story that words cannot. It says that trust is alive, that surrender is possible, and that intimacy is more than physical. It is psychological, emotional, even spiritual. It reminds us that in true closeness, the strongest person is not the one who controls, but the one who dares to let go. To go deeper into these hidden truths, you'll find the Jung Method in the first pinned comment, The Secret of Control and Power. When a man lifts your legs in bed, part of what makes the gesture so intense is the hidden play of control and power. On the surface, it might seem like just another way of moving. But deep down, this act taps into one of the oldest dynamics between men and women, the balance between leading and allowing, between taking and giving. This is not about dominance in the harsh sense, nor about submission in the negative sense. It is about the subtle exchange of control that makes intimacy electric. Carl Jung often reminded us that every relationship is shaped by archetypes, the deep psychological patterns that live inside every human being. Among these, the masculine archetype often represents direction, strength, and initiative, while the feminine archetype represents openness, depth, and flow. When your legs are lifted, the masculine energy takes an active role, showing its need to lead and to create intensity. The feminine energy responds by allowing, opening, and receiving. This does not mean weakness, it means trust. The act becomes powerful because both roles are being honored. Control in intimacy is not about force, it is about rhythm, about guiding the moment so that both partners feel something beyond the ordinary. When a man takes control through this movement, he is saying without words, "Let me carry this moment, let me lead the way." And when a woman accepts, she is not losing power. She is gaining a new layer of experience, one that she could not have reached alone. The psychology behind this is simple yet profound. Men carry an unconscious desire to feel strong, to feel capable, to feel like they are enough. Married men in particular often feel the weight of responsibility, of expectations, of being seen only as providers. But in intimacy, when they can take control in small instinctive gestures, they reconnect with a part of themselves that longs to be felt as powerful, not in society, but in the heart of the one they love. For women, this shift of control can awaken something equally deep. Many women spend their days controlling, managing, and solving problems. To surrender control in intimacy can feel like a release, a relief, a reminder that they do not have to carry the weight all the time. Allowing him to guide the moment is not about submission, it is about balance. It creates a space where both can meet in roles that heal them. There is also something symbolic in the physical act. Lifting the legs changes the perspective, changes the angle, changes the energy of the room. It shows that he is not afraid to take initiative, not afraid to change the flow. Control in this sense is creative. It transforms the moment into something alive and unpredictable. That unpredictability is what excites the unconscious, because routine kills desire, but surprise brings it back to life. Jung believed that power, when balanced, is not destructive, but transformative. When a man takes control in intimacy with respect and passion, he is not diminishing his partner. He is awakening her. And when she accepts that control, she is not weakened. She is empowered, because she is allowing herself to experience something raw, something real. It is also important to understand that this play of control is never one-sided. A man may lift the legs, but it is the woman who allows it. Without her acceptance, there is no meaning. The power is therefore shared. He gives direction, she gives permission, and together they create the spark. This is the hidden truth. Control in intimacy is not domination. It is cooperation. It is two people choosing to meet in a dance where each plays a vital part. For married men, this dynamic can be even more intense. Outside the bedroom, they may feel controlled by circumstances, work, schedules, financial pressures, social roles. In intimacy, the chance to take control is liberating. It reminds them that they are still men with fire, not just workers with duties. And for the woman, allowing this control is a gift, a way of saying, I see you beyond the role, beyond the responsibilities. I see your power. Power here is not about ego. It is about connection. It is about creating a moment where both partners feel alive, where both step out of their daily roles and into something primal. That is why this gesture resonates so strongly, because hidden inside it is the secret of power that is not oppressive, but shared. Not cold, but passionate. When you look closely, you will see that intimacy always involves shifts of control. Sometimes you lead, sometimes he leads. Sometimes you give, sometimes you receive. The balance is what keeps the connection alive. The act of lifting your legs is simply one expression of this balance, one symbol of the eternal dance between masculine and feminine energies. So the next time this happens, do not see it as random or mechanical. See it as a moment where power is being exchanged, where trust is being deepened, where instinct and psychology meet. Understand that when a man does this, he is not just changing a position. He is revealing his need to lead, to feel strong, and to connect with you in the most primal way. And when you accept, you are not giving up control. You are participating in the dance that keeps intimacy alive. That is the secret of control and power. It is not about domination or weakness. It is about two energies meeting in balance, creating a moment that is unforgettable because it speaks directly to the unconscious. The emotional charge hidden in desire. Desire is never only physical. On the outside, it may look like the body taking over, but deep inside every gesture there is an emotional charge. When a man lifts your legs in bed, what truly explodes in that moment is not just sensation, but emotion. Desire is energy, and energy always carries feelings with it. The truth is, no matter how much we try to separate the body from the heart, they are connected. The body speaks the language of the soul, and in intimacy, every movement reveals what words cannot say. Carl Jung often spoke about the way the unconscious expresses itself in symbols and actions. He taught that many times what we feel but cannot name will leak through our behavior. This is why the act of raising your legs feels different than just another position. It is not about mechanics. It is about emotion, finding a way to be expressed, without words. The intensity of the gesture shows the intensity of the feelings behind it. Desire, in this sense, is not only hunger of the body. It is hunger of the heart. When a man makes this move, it often comes with urgency. That urgency is not just lust. It is the emotional need to be close, to feel united, to touch more than your skin. The gesture says, I want you completely. I cannot hold back. I need to feel every part of you. This emotional undertone is what makes the experience so powerful. Many women describe feeling a rush of emotion when this happens. It is not only pleasure, it is being desired in a way that makes them feel seen, wanted, chosen. And that is the emotional charge hidden in desire. The feeling of being more than a body, of being the one person who awakens such instinct in him. Married men especially carry many roles in life: provider, father, worker. But in this moment, when he acts out of pure desire, you feel that you are not just part of his routine, you are the fire that still lives in him. This is important because desire without emotion quickly fades. Physical hunger alone cannot sustain intimacy. But when desire is charged with emotion, it becomes unforgettable. That is why a small gesture can linger in your memory for years. You may forget the details of the night, but you will remember the feeling of being lifted, of being desired with such intensity that it marked you. Emotion is what burns the memory into your soul. From the male perspective, the emotional charge is just as strong. He may not always articulate it, but what drives the act is not just passion, it is the need to release feelings that cannot be said aloud. For many men, emotions are difficult to express in words. Society trains them to hide, to control, to remain composed. But in the private space of intimacy, emotion escapes through action. Lifting your legs is his way of pouring out feelings that otherwise remain locked inside. It is his body speaking the words he does not know how to form. Jung explained that the unconscious often holds back emotions until they find a safe place to emerge. Intimacy is that place. In everyday life, emotions are masked by duties and appearances, but in the vulnerability of passion, the truth comes out. The emotional charge hidden in desire is nothing less than his soul reaching out. It is not about the surface, it is about the depth he cannot show elsewhere. For women, receiving this emotional charge can also awaken hidden parts of themselves. Many women carry buried feelings, longing, fear, the need to be chosen again. When a man reveals his desire with such intensity, those feelings are touched, released, healed. It reminds you that you are still capable of stirring deep emotions, not just filling roles. It makes you feel alive, not only as a partner, but as a woman. It is also important to see how emotion transforms the body's response. When desire is only physical, the body reacts mechanically. But when it is emotional, the body reacts with depth, with trembling, with tears sometimes, with sensations that feel almost spiritual. This is why intimacy charged with emotion feels sacred. It becomes not just a union of bodies, but a union of souls. For married men, this hidden emotional charge is even more meaningful. In marriage, where routine can cool desire, such gestures remind both partners that passion is still alive. They remind you that beneath the schedules, the bills, the responsibilities, there is still a fire that can be awakened. The chemistry that intensifies connection. Every act of intimacy carries a kind of chemistry that goes beyond what science can measure. Of course, there are hormones, neurotransmitters, and biological reactions at play. But when a man lifts your legs in bed, the chemistry that happens is not only physical, it is relational. It is the invisible glue that intensifies connection between two people, making the moment feel unforgettable. Carl Jung believed that what we call chemistry is actually the meeting of unconscious patterns. He explained that people are drawn to each other not only for external reasons, but because something deep inside recognizes something familiar or desired in the other. In intimacy, these unconscious connections become stronger. When he lifts your legs, he is not just creating a new angle. He is igniting chemistry that joins instinct with emotion, desire with meaning. From the physical perspective, there is indeed a biological reaction. The position can increase closeness, sensation, and intensity. Hormones like oxytocin, the bonding hormone, are released. This alone already deepens attachment. But beyond the biology, there is the emotional chemistry, the sense of being desired, of being chosen, of being important enough for him to act with urgency. That emotional chemistry is what makes the act stay in your memory. Chemistry is also about timing. In the exact moment when he raises your legs, something shifts inside both of you. The rhythm changes, the sensations increase, but more importantly, the emotional connection becomes sharper. It is as if the air in the room thickens, as if every heartbeat is louder. This is not just passion. It is chemistry weaving two souls together. For women, the chemistry often feels like being pulled into his energy field. You sense his urgency, his hunger, his focus on you. That focus creates a magnetic pull that makes you feel alive, awakened, special. For men, the chemistry feels like stepping into power, into primal fire, into a raw truth that cannot be hidden. Together, these feelings create a storm of energy that no words could ever reproduce. Married men especially experience this in a unique way. For them, routine and responsibility often dull the fire of intimacy. But in moments like this, the chemistry reignites. It reminds them of the beginning, of the spark that once set everything on fire. Raising your legs is not only about the body, it is a subconscious way of trying to recreate that intensity, to feel again the explosion of connection that makes life vivid. Jung would call this chemistry a manifestation of the anima and animus, the inner feminine in the man and the inner masculine in the woman. When the two meet, when they mirror and awaken each other, chemistry flows naturally. In intimacy, this becomes almost tangible. The man connects not only to your body but to your essence, and you connect not only to his strength but to his spirit. That is why it feels different. It feels like two energies intertwining in a way that logic cannot explain. The chemistry also has another dimension: memory. When such a gesture happens, it leaves an imprint. The body remembers, the heart remembers. Even if time passes, that particular moment can be recalled with a vividness that ordinary encounters cannot match. Why? Because the chemistry that was created was not only physical but emotional and psychological. It left a trace in the unconscious, making it unforgettable. Many women underestimate the power of this chemistry. They think it is about positions, about techniques. But in truth, what holds a man close is not technique, it is connection. And connection comes from chemistry. If his desire meets your openness, if his instinct meets your trust, the chemistry that results is magnetic. It cannot be faked, it cannot be forced, it simply flows. For married men, the hunger for this chemistry is strong. They may not say it out loud, but what they crave is not only the release of passion, it is the reconnection of souls. In daily life, they are surrounded by stress, pressure, and endless tasks. But when they feel this chemistry with you, they feel alive again. They feel seen not as a provider, not as a role, but as a man burning with desire. That experience is healing. It pulls them back into the essence of who they are. The truth is, chemistry is what separates intimacy from mere physicality. Without it, encounters feel empty, forgettable, routine. With it, every touch feels like fire, every breath feels like music, every moment feels sacred. That is why the gesture of lifting your legs carries such weight. It is a trigger that unleashes chemistry on every level: body, heart, and soul. So the next time this happens, pay attention not only to what is seen, but to what is felt. Notice the rush in your chest, the heat in your skin, the electricity in the air. That is chemistry working, intensifying the bond between you. Understand that behind the move there is a silent truth. He is not just reaching for your body, he is reaching for connection. And when you let it happen, when you allow yourself to be part of that chemistry, you are not just sharing passion. You are sharing the most powerful force of all, the energy that binds two people into one unforgettable experience. That is the chemistry that intensifies connection. It is invisible but undeniable, and once you recognize it, you will understand why this gesture never feels casual. It is always a spark, a reminder that intimacy is not only about touch, it is about energy, emotion, and the mysterious chemistry that ties hearts together. The archetype of vulnerability and passion. Every intimate gesture carries not only sensation, but also an archetype. Carl Jung explained that archetypes are universal patterns hidden in the human unconscious, symbols that shape how we act and respond even without realizing it. When a man lifts your legs in bed, the physical act awakens. One of the deepest archetypes, the union of vulnerability and passion. This is why the moment feels more than physical. It feels symbolic, as if something ancient and eternal is being played out between you. Vulnerability, in this context, is not weakness. It is the courage to be seen without defenses. Allowing your legs to be raised is opening yourself fully, showing trust and surrender in a way that daily life rarely allows. In the world outside, we guard ourselves. We hide emotions, protect our hearts, control our image. But in that private space, when the gesture happens, the walls fall. You become open, and in that openness lies true strength. Jung often said that only when we face our vulnerability do we touch the deepest truths of who we are. In intimacy, this truth comes alive. For the man, the act awakens the archetype of passion. Passion here is not only desire, it is fire, energy, intensity. It is the raw expression of wanting completely, of seeking to unite without barriers. When he lifts your legs, he steps into that archetype unconsciously. He is not simply moving, he is embodying passion, allowing his hidden fire to come to the surface. And when vulnerability meets passion, the result is an encounter that marks both souls. What makes this archetype powerful is the balance it creates. Vulnerability without passion feels empty. Passion without vulnerability feels shallow. But when the two meet, when you surrender openly and he burns with intensity, something sacred emerges. The moment becomes a symbol of life itself, the merging of openness and fire, of trust and desire. That is why this gesture is remembered. It is not just about sensation, it is about the archetype it awakens in both of you. For women, stepping into vulnerability is not easy. Society often teaches women to be strong, independent, always in control. But in intimacy, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you discover another kind of power, the power of openness. To be vulnerable means to say, I trust you enough to let go. And that choice is stronger than any defense. It is not forced, it is conscious. And when he feels that, his passion grows, because nothing awakens a man's fire more than knowing he is trusted completely. For men, stepping into passion is also not easy. The world teaches them to be restrained, logical, measured. But in intimacy, when they can express passion freely, they reconnect with the fire inside. Lifting your legs is one way that passion bursts out. It is not calculated, it is instinct. It is the archetype of the lover, the one who desires without limit, the one who shows his truth through action instead of words. Married men, in particular, are often caught between responsibility and desire. Their days are filled with control, planning, and duty. But in this moment, when they embody passion and you embody vulnerability, they escape those roles. They are no longer just providers or problem solvers, they are men alive with fire. And for the woman, being vulnerable is not about submission, it is about reclaiming the power of being wanted, of being open, of being alive in her own feminine essence. Jung believed that archetypes shape our deepest experiences. That is why this gesture resonates so strongly across cultures and times. It is not about technique. It is about touching the ancient patterns of human intimacy. The archetype of vulnerability and passion is as old as humanity itself. It is the reason why certain gestures carry so much weight, why they feel unforgettable, why they awaken emotions that cannot be explained by logic alone. This archetype also heals. Many women carry wounds that make vulnerability difficult. Many men carry wounds that make passion difficult. But when the two meet in safety, healing begins. The woman discovers that vulnerability does not mean danger, it means trust. The man discovers that passion does not mean rejection, it means connection. Together, they experience intimacy as it was meant to be, not a routine, but a revelation. The silent language of his subconscious. Every man speaks two languages. One is with words, the sentences, promises, and explanations he gives in daily life. The other is with his body, the silent language of the subconscious. In intimacy, this second language becomes louder, because passion silences the mind and gives space for instincts to take control. When a man lifts your legs in bed, what you are truly witnessing is this silent language. He may never put it into words, but his subconscious is speaking clearly. Carl Jung believed that the subconscious is always communicating, even when we are unaware of it. Small gestures, sudden impulses, unplanned actions, they are all ways in which the inner self reveals itself. In intimacy, when the conscious mind relaxes, these hidden truths rise even faster. That is why the act of lifting your legs feels powerful. It is not a rehearsed move. It is his subconscious saying something raw, something real, something he may not even admit to himself. What is this silent message? At its core, it says, I want you completely. I want closeness beyond words. I want to express what I feel without holding back. This is why the moment feels different than others. You are not just receiving physical desire. You are receiving the unfiltered truth of his subconscious. And when you understand this, you realize that intimacy is not just about what happens on the outside. It is about decoding what his inner self is trying to tell you. For many women, this realization is powerful, because often men are not comfortable expressing emotions directly. They may avoid vulnerability in conversation, hide their fears, or downplay their feelings. But in the silent language of intimacy, everything comes out. The way he touches you, the urgency of his movements, the instinct to lift your legs, all of these are emotional statements. They are declarations that bypass words and go straight to the heart. For married men, this silent language is even more important. In the daily routine, they may suppress parts of themselves, passion, hunger, longing, because life demands control and restraint. But in the private space of the bedroom, the subconscious finds its voice. Raising your legs is not just a move. It is a release of everything he holds back during the day. It is his way of saying, I am still alive. I still burn for you. I still need to express what is inside me. Jung taught that the subconscious is filled with symbols, and those symbols carry meaning far beyond the surface. The gesture of lifting the legs is one such symbol. It represents access, intensity, and complete union. On the outside, it is just movement. On the inside, it is communication. It says what he cannot say at dinner, what he cannot write in a message, what he cannot admit even to himself. It is his truth, spoken in the only way he feels safe to express it. For women, learning to listen to this silent language changes everything. Instead of asking, why does he do this? You begin to hear what the act is saying. You begin to feel the depth of his desire, the strength of his need, the honesty of his passion. You realize that what looks like instinct is actually communication. And once you see it this way, the gesture becomes more than physical. It becomes emotional dialogue. This silent language also explains why the act is so unforgettable. Words fade, promises are broken, but the subconscious speaks with actions that carve themselves into memory. When he lifts your legs, you remember it because the subconscious has spoken directly to your soul. It bypasses logic and touches emotion in a way words never could. That is why you cannot forget it, even if you try. It is also worth noting that this subconscious message is not only about desire, it is also about connection. The subconscious is not satisfied with surface encounters. It seeks depth, it seeks unity, it seeks something lasting. So when he expresses himself through this gesture, he is not only saying that I want you now, he is also saying that I want to connect with you beyond the surface. This is the deeper meaning that many overlook. For married men, this is especially powerful. In a life full of roles and duties, their subconscious craves authenticity. The act of lifting your legs is his subconscious finding a way to break through routine, to remind both of you that underneath the schedules and stress, there is still raw passion waiting to be expressed. So the next time this happens, instead of seeing it as random, pause for a second in your mind and ask, what is his subconscious saying right now? You may hear it clearly, not with your ears, but with your heart. You may feel the truth of his desire, the intensity of his need, the honesty of his connection. That is the beauty of the silent language. It speaks without words, but once you understand it, you can never ignore it again. The body never lies. The subconscious always finds a way to reveal itself. And in intimacy, when he lifts your legs, you are witnessing the purest message of all, that his desire is not surface, not routine, not empty. It is full, real, and uncontainable. And that message, spoken through the silent language of his subconscious, is one of the most powerful truths you can ever receive. The hidden reason. Married men crave this. On the surface, intimacy can look simple. Two bodies come together, passion is shared, and pleasure is found. But beneath the surface, there are hidden reasons that explain why certain gestures carry more weight than others. One of these is why married men, in particular, crave the moment when they lift your legs in bed. It is not only about the physical angle or intensity, it is about something deeper, something hidden, something that speaks to the secret world of male desire and psychology. Carl Jung often spoke about the tension between the persona, the mask we wear in public, and the true self that hides beneath. Married men, more than anyone, carry heavy personas. They are expected to be providers, responsible, rational, steady. They wear the mask of the worker, the father, the husband. But inside, beneath all the roles, there is still the man who longs for freedom, passion, fire, and raw connection. When he lifts your legs, it is his way of tearing off the mask for a moment. It is his way of touching the truth of who he really is beneath responsibility. This is why the gesture carries such power. It is not just about sensation, it is about escape. In that moment, the married man is no longer bound by duty. He is no longer the one paying bills, solving problems, or carrying burdens. He is simply a man, driven by instinct, craving to feel alive. Lifting your legs is his subconscious way of breaking routine and returning to the wild, untamed energy he often suppresses in daily life. For the woman, this hidden reason is just as powerful. When you allow it, you become the space where he feels free. You are not just his partner, you are the one who awakens the fire he hides from the world. That makes you more than a wife, more than a companion. You become the portal through which he rediscovers his raw self. This is not only passion, it is healing. Because in that release, he remembers that life is more than duty. It is desire, and you are the one who sparks it. But there is another layer. Married men crave this gesture because it reconnects them with something they often fear losing: intensity. Marriage, with all its beauty, can also bring routine. The days repeat, the responsibilities grow, and passion sometimes falls asleep. But the act of lifting your legs is a way to wake it up. It is his way of saying, I don't want this to fade. I don't want us to be only routine. I still want the fire. The hidden reason is not only lust, it is the longing to keep intimacy alive, to prove to himself and to you that desire is still burning. Jung explained that humans are always searching for wholeness. The married man feels divided, between duty and desire, between mask and self. In intimacy, he seeks to unite those parts. The gesture is symbolic. By taking control, by lifting your legs, he is uniting his responsible side with his passionate side. He is proving to himself that he can be both, the provider and the lover, the steady partner and the wild man. That wholeness is what he craves most, and it is hidden inside this simple act. For women, understanding this hidden reason changes everything. Instead of seeing the act as just physical, you begin to see it as a message. You realize that when he craves this moment, he is really craving freedom, intensity, connection, wholeness. He is craving a reminder that you are not only partners in life, but partners in passion. And when you respond, when you allow it, you are giving him more than pleasure. You are giving him back a part of himself. This also explains why the memory of such moments stays so strong. For a married man, they are not just encounters. They are breakthroughs. They are moments where the mask falls, where truth is felt, where fire is alive. And because they are rare in the routine of responsibility, they are treasured. They are hidden proofs that passion has not died, that desire is still alive, that love is more than duty. But the hidden reason is not only his. Married men crave this because it also awakens the woman. They want to see her open, vulnerable, alive. They want to feel her surrender, her passion, her intensity. In that moment, both awaken together. And that awakening is the real secret. It is not about one leading and the other following. It is about two people breaking out of routine and entering the fire of intimacy again. So why do married men crave this so much? Because it reminds them of what life tries to take away. It reminds them of passion in a world of routine, of freedom in a world of responsibility, of wholeness in a life of division.